starting to realize.
Well, Steven Adams got going early in this one. 15 points in the first half. Paul George struggled early, but that dunk, my goodness. Nerlens Noel was huge in this game. In fact, him fouling out might have been the turning point as Jokic and the Nuggets, too much for the Thunder, taking the third of 4 in this matchup with your Oklahoma City Thunder. Welcome into our Fox Sports Oklahoma studios and to our post-game edition of Thunder Live, powered by Cox Communications. Leslie McCassin alongside Antonio Daniels. Well, this one kind of had everybody on the edge of their seat, especially after being down by 18. The Thunder made a huge run to come back and take the lead in the fourth quarter. What went wrong down the final stretch?
Well, I think Nerlens fouling out was huge. He was significant in the comeback because of his activity and giving Jokic problems. He did an excellent job defending the pick and roll, and he picked up some early fouls in that fourth quarter that kind of put him behind the 8 ball a little bit. And once he fouled out, that kind of changed the whole defensive flow because he did an excellent job anchoring that defense to allow this team to come back from 18 points down. But it was a free throw contest. It was a free throw contest. There were 62 fouls called.
That's crazy.
Yeah, 62 foul called and 60 free throws attempted. Basically, Denver won the free throw contest. When you look at it, and Denver's a really good team. Denver is a really, really good basketball team. They're deep. Jokic is talented. He has a big-time skill set. But we were watching this game together, and this Thunder team is never out of a game. They are extremely resilient, and they play with a ton of heart. So when that lead swelled to 18, you never thought this game was over because we have seen this team fight and fight and fight and fight all year long. And just because they're on the road, you don't expect anything different.
Yeah, in the fourth quarter, really, as you mentioned, it was spurred by the bench and by forcing turnovers, getting out defense, running in transition.
You know, and you wish you could say that same intensity and laser-focused defensively that you showed when you were down 18 points, that's what you want to see at the start of the second half, or that's what you want to see at the start of the game. And I know there is no such thing as 48 minutes of good, solid defensive basketball. It doesn't happen. Teams have lapses. Guys have individual lapses. You have collective lapses. I completely understand that. But I've said this, and I will continue to say this all year. When this Thunder team is engaged defensively, not offensively, whether or not shots are falling, when they are engaged defensively, that spurs everything else, especially the offensive side of the basketball.
Yeah, it was huge in that fourth quarter when they got those 2 straight turnovers, 2 threes. All of a sudden, they were back in it, tied the game, and then took the lead, but it fell apart after that. All right, let's check in now with Chris Fisher and Michael Cage after this one. Guys, that was an exciting one that you thought the Thunder might have been out of, but they were able to claw their way back in. What was the feeling there tonight at the Pepsi Center?
Well, certainly when they come back from 18 points down, take a lead on a Russell Westbrook three-point shot, 197, you're thinking this is the Thunder team that we've seen all season long. It's going to make the comeback and maybe get over the top and finally take down this Denver team. But, Michael, we didn't see it. The fouling was a problem late. Obviously, 34 combined free throws for these two teams in the fourth quarter. That is a massive number. The Thunder were able to find its stroke a little bit in the second half from three-point land, just not enough, though, to get over the top and ultimately come out with a win.
Well, it was a three-point shot that got them the lead by Russell Westbrook in the fourth quarter. You thought the offense was going to continue. Well, you know what? The great equalizer after being down by as many as 13 in the first half, or at halftime, if you will, the Thunder found their stride from distance. Those 8 threes that they made in the second half, they were 8 of 20 in the second half after being just 2 of 18 in the first half. It made a difference. It erased that 13-point deficit and even gave you a lead. And all of a sudden, the offense was starting to click because when they made that run where they were knocking down those threes, the defense was also very solid. Now, it came down to the little things. Offensive rebounding, well, the Thunder still were +3 on the glass. They forced Denver into some tough turnovers. I like that. 18 turnovers for 26 points. They beat Denver in the paint, 58-52. So a lot of good things that happened. But there again, I thought it came down, like you mentioned, the free throw shooting. Denver was +10 more attempts than the Thunder.
Just couldn't keep Denver off the line, especially late in the fourth quarter. Jokic was a big factor. Got to give credit to Jeremy Grant. He kept the Thunder in it in the third quarter. 12 out of his 21 in that third, kind of keeping that game pretty close, but just not enough for anybody here getting the Thunder this win in Denver. Leslie, AD, back to you.
Thanks, guys. Safe travels back. We appreciate it. You're right. Jeremy Grant was definitely big tonight. We'll talk more about him coming up. But as they mentioned, lots of free throws, just too little too late there at the end. It seemed like, too, the Thunder had a lot of empty possessions at the end of the game.
You have to execute down the stretch. You're right. And right now, at this time of the year, when all these games are significant and meaningful, and you're playing against really good basketball teams, your fourth quarter execution, mainly in the last 2 to 3 minutes of the game, is a lot of times going to be the difference between this Thunder team walking away victorious or with a loss.
Yeah, and it's pretty impressive that Denver is 27-4 at home. I mean, we saw one of the many reasons why tonight, 3-0 against the Thunder. They've got one more matchup in late March. All right, coming back in just a little bit here on Thunder Live, powered by Cox Communications, we will talk about our Ford Player of the Game. There's a preview. Stick around. We've got it next. Thunder Live is brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Nuggets win this one 121-112. Let's hear from Billy Donovan after a tough night in Denver.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the big thing was I thought like right around, 3 minutes or so in that second quarter, we did not close the half very well at all. And then they obviously went on a run. I think a couple things happened. I think we started out and made a couple quick points, kind of cut the lead into single digits. And then it kind of got back up again, and I thought a big momentum for us was the end of the third when Paul banked in that three. But our guys just battled and fought in that fourth quarter. I thought the guys that came off the bench did a really nice job for us. Got a lot of contributions from a lot of guys. They moved the ball. They shared the ball. And we, we're defending and getting out in transition and getting stops. And then we were generating a lot of good open looks. We didn't shoot the ball particularly well from behind the three-point line, but I thought we generated some pretty good looks in the game.
I know there was some out of kind of desperation in the final minutes, but with the fouling tonight, did you see anything that was a consistent theme?
I thought that was the biggest thing in the game. I thought there was a couple of plays that really, really impacted the game. I mean, I think we're up by 3 points, and they missed 2 free throws in a row, and we don't block out, and they kind of come down with the loose ball, and I believe they score off of that. And then we gave up 2 consecutive offensive rebounds to Millsap. And then the corner three by Murray, and then we had another one off the slot. We had some things that we were able to control that we didn't do a good enough job, and that part of it was disappointing because the guys, I thought, battled and worked so hard to get back in the game and give ourselves a chance. But those are things that we kind of were self-inflicted, so to speak, that we kind of put on ourselves.
Even at one point after they went back with Jokic, you stayed out there with Nerlens and Markieff. What did you like about what those guys were doing?
Yeah, I mean, Nerlens picked up some fouls there. I would have liked to have kept him on the floor. I thought he was out there pressuring him. He was giving Jokic maybe a little bit of a different look. I thought his rolls to the basket and just, him getting out of pick and roll quickly. They were sending 2 people at Russell and Paul, and we did a good job in the second half attacking that. But, both those guys got, I thought we got good minutes from Markieff as well. It was, I ended up going back with Jeremy there late, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes. I thought Jeremy really played pretty well in that third quarter and wanted to give him another opportunity. Markieff had gone, I think about 7.5 minutes. So, I probably would have kept Nerlens out there had he not fouled out.
Is that something you could build on in matchups going forward, just looking at maybe extending those guys a little longer?
Yeah, I mean, I think we tried to do some of that today. We obviously, held off on some of the rotations because that unit was playing well. I mean, we got down by double digits, 16, I think, at one point, and, that group kind of fought their way back, and they were playing really, really good basketball, and they were playing together. And, again, I think we would have gone with it. I mean, fatigue was going to become a factor at some point, so you're probably going to have to sub. But, we wanted to ride it as long as we did, and I think we got really, really good quality minutes from about the 12-minute mark all the way down to 5. We played pretty well.
Was there a recurring theme on those key offensive rebounds Denver was able to get in the final 6 minutes?
Yeah, I think we had some guys leaving to go block shots. That probably wasn't necessary to go block shots, because that's where you get vulnerable. When you leave to pull across, when there's a guy on the ball to go block a shot, if you don't block it, you leave yourself vulnerable to offensive rebounds. And Millsap came up with 2 big ones, and then obviously the rebounds off the missed free throws were big, and then the fact that we fouled entirely too much. We didn't need to foul in some of those situations. We were pretty solid. That's what really got us back, is we played defense without fouling, and we were able to get out in transition.
Anyone else?
Well, he kind of echoed what we talked about earlier in big games like this. It comes down to one or two few mistakes that are so big.
That's a part of the discipline. That's a part of the discipline of it all. They're just little things. And the toughest part is self-inflicted issues. And that's the term that Billy Donovan just used, and I agree with it wholeheartedly, because when missed free throws, and then you got Jokic to miss 2 free throws, then they get the offensive rebound. Then we foul, and they hit both free throws. Just little things, just fouling in times when they're in the penalty and they aren't good fouls. There are certain times throughout the course of a game where you just want to stay solid, stay disciplined, and let their defense score over you. If their defense score over you, you know what? You take your hat off to them and say that's a heck of a shot. But when a team is struggling offensively, like the Denver Nuggets were struggling to score the basketball, and you put them on the foul line, that's an easy way to get their rhythm back. A very easy way to get their rhythm back. And I agree with something else Billy said about Nerlens Noel. Just his size and his athleticism gave Jokic issues. Mm-hmm. Gave Jokic problems on the offensive end. Him getting out of that pick and roll, meaning I'm going to set the pick and roll and quick roll, that put Denver in rotation. Because if you saw the other side, Denver had OKC in rotation all night long as well. So Nerlens brought a lot of defensive energy and anchored this team to get back in the game defensively. But offensively, he did a lot of really good things that won't show up in the stat sheet that freed up other guys for good looks for them as well.
Now it's time to turn the page. The Thunder have fallen in the last 2. They'll get Philly at home, though, on Thursday night, and what will be a big one. Joel Embiid will not make the trip. We are previewing that game next, so stick around as we wrap up Thunder Live, powered by Cox Communications, next. So here are the next 2 games for the Thunder. Of course, that one on Thursday night against Philly is a TNT exclusive. Our next broadcast is Saturday night against the San Antonio Spurs. Of course, that one is on the road, 7 o'clock, right here on Fox Sports Oklahoma. But to preview that next game against Philly, let's check in with Fish and Cage, guys.
The schedule doesn't get any easier for the Thunder on Thursday, welcoming one of the best from the Eastern Conference, the Philadelphia 76ers, led by Ben Simmons, a different 76ers team than we saw in January. Tobias Harris, a new addition, but Michael, it's a rematch of that classic game that was won by a 4-point play from Paul George.
You're right, and Tobias Harris is a terrific player. He's an all-star caliber player, but Jimmy Butler, he's also the main man now that Joe Embiid is out with that knee injury, but this team likes to play in transition. Ben Simmons, he's a 6'10" point guard who you have to try to keep in front of you. But for the Thunder, it becomes about what happened the last time these two teams met. They had an excellent finish there in Philadelphia where they were able to knock down threes, make big plays late in the ball game that gave them the W.
A remarkable stat there. Philadelphia has never beaten the Thunder in Oklahoma City, 0-9, as the Thunder will try to make it 0-10 on Thursday night. A quick reminder, that game is on TNT only, but you can always hear it on 98.1 on the radio with Matt Pinto. Guys, back to you.
All right, that should be a good one on Thursday night. A time for the Thunder to get things turned around, and it's always a good place to do it at home.
Yes.
Finish my sentence. At home. So a loss tonight for the Thunder, but this is, again, another good learning lesson because they can realize they were this close. They made a huge comeback, and they're never out of it.
Right, and they know that already. And you know, there are no moral victories with us, and there will be no moral victories in that locker room. You got to turn this page. You got to turn this page quickly and worry about what's next because you have a Philadelphia 76ers team that is undermanned. They're without their star center and also without their backup center. So they're without Joel Embiid. They're also without Boban. So this team is going to come in a little different than what you're accustomed to. So now Jimmy Butler's usage rate is going to go up. Tobias Harris's usage rate is going to go up. Ben Simmons' usage rate is going to go up. So this is going to be a perimeter defending team that you have to have. Completely opposite of what you saw tonight. Tonight was more about Jokic, and you have to defend the middle. You're going to have three guys, and those three that we just talked about, that three-headed snake and Simmons and those other guys that are just going to keep coming. And this is one that you feel like, because it's at home, you got to get before you go on the road to San Antonio.
Yeah, these are all big at this point. Just over 6 weeks left in the regular season before playoffs. Every game is so important down the stretch. Thanks so much for hopefully staying up late with us and joining us for a post-game edition of Thunder Live, powered by Cox Communications. Again, the Thunder fall to Denver 121-112 in the third of 4, but they'll be back at it on Thursday night against Philly. Have a good night. Good morning, everyone.